You are listening to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. I'm Samantha Brown, a professional organizer and business coach. In this podcast, you will learn how to start and scale the organizing business of your dreams. So let's jump in. Welcome back to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. Real quick, I wanted to give you an update on the plan for the next few upcoming episodes. So right now, I'm talking with about 15 to 20 different professional organizers from all around the United States, Canada, and Australia, so they can come on the podcast and talk with you about their lives and their businesses, what they have learned over the years, and all of the things. So make sure to hit that subscribe and automatic download button so you don't miss any of these amazing episodes. So today I have the very first episode of this series with another organizer. We have Claudia Armstrong from Ontario, Canada. Claudia is on Facebook as Claudia Armstrong, professional organizer. So thank you, Claudia.
Thank you for having me.
When you first started as a professional organizer, what is something that was more challenging than you expected it to be?
I think it was to listening to my clients' goals, because you normally go and you think that you have the knowledge, and then you just want to do whatever you think is in your mind. Oh, I'm going to do it here. And then it's like, but she didn't ask me for that. So it's like, no, I have to listen to my client. That is the best tool that you can have as a professional organizer. What are your client's goals, her expectations, and how you can help her?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's so true, because whenever we go into their homes or when they reach out to us, it's because they need help, right?
Correct.
It's because they need, most of the time, not just someone to physically help them, but to also listen to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
To give them the solutions that they don't even think they need.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So you come with that knowledge as well and said, have you thought about putting this here? And they sometimes are like, oh, I didn't thought about it, right? And you're like, there you go. Yes.
Yeah, and I love when that happens, when they're like, I've never thought about that. That's so good.
Yes.
You know, you've at least given them one answer. Like, even if you don't give them anything else, that one thing has made them happy. Awesome. Yeah. So another question I had about the beginning of when you first started, which real quick, how long have you been organizing?
I was with my business for 11 years.
Wow.
But let me tell you something, Samantha. I started cleaning houses. My kids grow up, they go to school, and I have all this time. And I knew I have another career, and I knew that I didn't have a lot of future in that career. So I said, I need to do something with my time. So I start cleaning houses. Well, a few. And I have this client that I was working in her house twice a week. Beautiful house. But for me, it was tedious to be doing the same again and again. So I asked her, do you mind if I switch things around? And she's like, do whatever you want. I said, can I move furniture as well? Do whatever you want. So she came home and she was like, oh my God, what do you do to my place? Feels bigger, wider, feels like with other flow. And in my mind, it was like, yeah, because it didn't have sense to me the way the furniture was located, right? So then I was doing that in every single bedroom until she told me, why you don't study this? And I'm like, what? Is that a career? And she's like, yeah. So I start Googling. I found this career and I studied to become a professional organizer. So I studied that 13 years ago online when we never expected to do it online, right? And then I was so excited that even in my classes was about how to do my own business. I graduate and then I start to make my business. And I started with just business cards, a little bigger than the normal business card, just to show my services. So I start to drop those cards in community centers, in places that I do not have to invest. So then when somebody hired me, I was like, I can do this. I can do this. Absolutely. So I can tell you right now that I see so much difference from when I'm started that today.
Yeah.
Because nobody knew about this career. I think this is more right now like trending.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that as well, Samantha, is a lot of misconception about what a professional organizer is. I think, and I think that this platform that you are inviting me to be right now is a great opportunity for everybody to know that for clients and also for professional organizers. For clients, it's not just for wealthy people to hire a professional organizer. It's not just about having beautiful beans in your kitchen or bathroom. It's about helping to have a better quality life. In my case, I have so much satisfaction when I'm helping a family that is mom and dad are working so much, or they have a full-time job and they have kids, and then they come home and they cook dinner and clean the kitchen, and then one is driving them for activities and the other is doing laundry and da, da, da. So they don't have time for anything. So they obviously are not going to have time to go groceries and go to this beautiful organized fridge, get all the beautiful containers, wash them and refill them. I just want to give them solutions how their every day can be easier and faster and organized. That is my goal, right? Just to give them that. And the other misunderstanding about from our professional organizers is that we just have to organize and have everything tidy, or sometimes just to downsize just because we need to organize the leftovers. Probably you have the same experience. Are some clients that they are collectibles, that they collect a lot of stuff. You're not going to throw that away just because you don't find a place to put it on. So you have to come with those solutions. Can we display it? Can we put it in another place for them to see it better or to have access to that? So that's when you have to come with all these ideas that sometimes they don't go just to a beautiful basket with a label. That's what I think.
Yes, no, I completely agree. And one of the episodes earlier on, because I started this podcast and I wanted to start with, how to start your business, just kind of A to Z real quick. So then we could get into more of the fun stuff. But that way the foundational pieces were there from the beginning. And one of the episodes, I was talking about finding your why, like making sure that why are you doing this, not just for yourself, but why are you doing this for others? Like, and most of us, for the majority that I have found as professional organizers, we have a heart to help, or we wouldn't have gotten started at this in the first place.
Correct.
And so finding that, where like for me, when I first started, it was all about making sure that moms and wives can come home to a peaceful home that does not feel so chaotic, because that was my story. I used to come home to a very chaotic home when my kids were little, and it was stressful.
Absolutely.
And so I think also knowing your why and why you're wanting to do this for others and for yourself helps also when you're talking to people, or when you're writing your marketing material for your website, or all of those things are just about having a conversation with someone.
Yes. And that is the importance to listen to your client, because when you are listening to that, sometimes they open to you and you can find the problem from the root, and you can say, oh, now I understand why she wants to keep this. Now I understand why she doesn't want to let this go. And then you can come with another solution for that client. But it's very important because in the majority of the times, in my case, they open to me and I can understand, and it's for me easier to help them, you know?
Yeah. And that's why I was talking about the consultations, how important they are, because if you just jump in like you were talking about at the beginning with your own ideas of how it should be, and you don't take the time to let them talk to you and let them walk you through the home and let them explain where their pain points are,
Yes.
then you're not really helping them in the end. You're just
No.
doing what you want to do. And more than likely, they may not even call you back because they didn't feel heard and they didn't feel like their problem was fixed.
You are helping them to tidy up, not to organize with a system. And this is something that I want to share with everybody. It can be another professional organizer, or is something that I always tell my client. Organizing is not a cookie cutter. What works for you, that doesn't mean that it's going to work for your neighbor or your family member or for me. Let me just give you an example. If I'm going to do a kitchen, so I ask questions like, how many family members live here? Who is in charge of the kitchen? Who likes to cook? Do you cook? Do you order food? Why you want to do your kitchen? Well, sometimes it's because I want to start cooking healthier. Do you bake? No, I don't bake. Well, then let's put all your baking supplies in the back because you don't want them. Oh, but I want to start to bake. Then let's put it closer to you so you can feel motivated and you can start doing that activity. So sometimes I wanted to put those baking stuff in another room but it's not about me. It's about my client, that she wants a solution and she wants to start a new activity. So that's what I'm going to give her a system, not just to tidy up.
Yes. Yeah. And not just to assume that because they have something already in one place, that that's where it should stay.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. For me, something that I do a lot when I'm doing a kitchen, and I said, do you drink coffee? Yes, a lot. And who else? So-and-so. Okay. So then why you have your coffee maker here and your mugs over there? And so you're dancing in the morning when you're having that. Why you don't have everything here? Oh, I didn't know. Like, I didn't thought about it. So then you start changing everything in the kitchen, but because have a logic.
Yes.
So when that mom or that dad is so busy with eyes closed, they can say, go to there and open the drawer and it's going to be there because has a logic, right?
Yes. And another thing, just a tip of when you're doing specifically a kitchen, is think about, okay, here's the oven. What are we using in the oven? That should be around the oven. You know, the dishes, when you're putting them up from the dishwasher, if possible, they should be near the dishwasher. You know, things like that make it easier on our clients, because when we leave, if all of a sudden what used to take them an hour now takes them 30 minutes, they're going to call us back.
Absolutely.
And they're going to give us good reviews and tell their friends and their neighbors. And that's what we want. Like,
yes,
you have to have good word of mouth to make it as a professional organizer.
That is my only publicity, mouth to mouth.
Yeah.
Is my reputation, is my name is on my business card. And absolutely, I want them to call me back or to recommend me because, oh, this lady helped me. And do you know how my kitchen was? Or when somebody just come to that house and said, oh my God, look your kitchen or look your closet. Oh yeah, I have this lady. She helped me. So they want to recommend you. And that is how I do my business, mouth to mouth. I give a free consultation, but I'm going to tell you why. At the beginning was for me to know what exactly I'm going to expect going to that house. But after having more experience and more clients and more business, for me is I want everybody to understand that being your own boss is a blessing. Is a blessing. So for me, when I go to a house and talking to my future client, and I know, oh my God, it's going to be hard because she's bossy. She's not going to let me do anything, yada, yada, yada. So for me, I take my decision and I said, okay, nice meeting you. I will call you when I have openings. And I don't have that business because I have the blessing to choose my clients now. At the beginning, yes, you are chosen because you're starting. But now it's like, I don't want to work there. Or I'm just going to take 2 days off of my week. Then that's why I give a free consultation. I started as well, Samantha, by project, but it's very hard to know. And I had very bad experiences because I start by a project that I charge so and so by the project. So I was doing a kitchen, and when we were downsizing, okay, let's move everything to the garage. But in order to move the things to the garage, you have to downsize and organize the garage. And it's like, that is another project. And they don't see it that way. So it's like, no. So I'm going to charge by hour. Normally for me, I work between 5 and 6 hours a day. At the beginning, I work 8 hours. Sometimes it depends on my client. I work with a lot of clients that they have mental problems like depression, anxiety, hoarders. So it's very hard for them and gets so overwhelmed for them to be working for long periods. But now I can say, okay, I just work 5, 6 hours a day. I want to come home. I want to have dinner with my kids. I want to have time to me and do my own personal stuff. I don't work for less than 4 hours, and I just work Monday to Friday.
You know, for me, the way that I set mine up is I do a 3-hour session. That's it.
Okay.
But at the end of the 3 hours, I then haul off everything from our session. So all the donations, all the trash. So for me, it ends up being 4 to 5 hours. It's just the actual session itself is 3 hours. And then I just charge per session.
Okay.
And so, you know, but I know of other people that charge per hour. I know of others that charge per project. You know, there's so many different options of just what works for you. And so I thought it would, you know, be interesting to the listener to hear what other organizers are doing and how they're doing it.
Absolutely. What you said is very good idea that you work for a session. I do the taking the garbage out or the donations. I do it as an extra value that I give to my client. I said to my client, I can give you names and numbers of certain associations that might be interesting in your clothing or in this and that, so they can come and pick it up. Or by my house is this place like a Goodwill that I can donate everything, and I'm not charging you anything because it's on my way. Oh yeah, absolutely. You can do that.
Yeah. And for me, the way that I do it is I tell them, like, I'm telling them it's an added bonus, but for me, when I'm doing my calendar or my fees, I know it's for that 4 to 5 hours, you know, to make it worth my time to run those things off. You know, I always tell them, you know, it's this price for a session, but that includes the 3 hours that we will be actually decluttering and organizing. And then once our session is complete, I will then run off the donations to the place of your choosing, and I will run off the trash to the dump. And every one of my clients is like, you run it off? What? I promise you, the majority of the time, I think that's why I get the job over anyone else, is because I offer to run the stuff off. And I tell them, you're just going to be left with the stuff you want to keep. The rest of it will be gone, except for like big furniture.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah. And so for them, I think that, you know, because a lot of, like, for me personally in my area, the majority of my jobs are more decluttering than anything. So, but I know it's different in every place. And so you've got to find like what is needed in your area and what's an added value that you can give above the other organizers that, you know, is worth value to your clients.
One of my biggest business are seniors. They live in a house. It can be big or a small house, but they are ready to retire to a retirement house or to their children's house. So children don't want to fight dad or mom, and that's what they hire me. Because imagine to put a whole house in one bedroom is a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is when I come and I talk to them and make them understand. But I think Samantha as well has to be a lot about your personality, about how you listen. No, everybody can do it. My belief, right? Yes, you might be amazing organizing, but maybe you don't have that touch to talk to the senior and help him understand the why. We have to understand that, like you said, why we're doing this. I had one time that it was a mom that the kids were removed from the house because the way the house was. So we have 3 months and I worked 5 days a week from 9 to 3 for 3 months in order for that house to be ready for those kids to come back. And I understand sometimes she was afraid. Sometimes she was mad. Sometimes she was frustrated. And I was listening to her. And sometimes I have to remind her, tick tock, tick tock. You want your kids back or not? Yes, let's do this, girl. So you have to cheer them as well because it's not easy. Whatever is garbage for you is not for them. For you and me or another professional organizer might be very easy just to say, I don't want it, I don't want it, I don't want it, bye. Not for them. Because we don't know what is the story. We don't know if they really work so hard in order to get that for you and me might be not important. So that's why when you listen, it's a lot of respect involved.
Yes. And remembering that you are there to help them. Like, yes, they hired you, but your purpose is to help. Your purpose is to, like, just like you said, encourage them or guide them or help them come up with solutions, or like there's a lot that goes into being a professional organizer. It's not, like you said in the beginning, it's not just the pretty bins and baskets and throwing them up on a shelf and saying, okay, done. That is like the least of my
Correct.
sessions. Like, I think I've had 2 in the past year that just wanted it in bins.
Yeah, the same with me. And this is the things that I said to my client, and I have it in the information when you go to my Facebook page. We don't have to get rid of everything you have. It's just have to be organized for you to see it, for you to know where it is. If you downsize, if you compromise, but you are seeing the system that I'm showing you, your client by itself is going to say, you know what? I think that I don't need this because I see now your system and it's working for me. I also tell them, I don't ask them to buy nothing. I'm using your own boxes, baskets, containers, whatever. Let's organize it. Live with that a week, 2 weeks to see if my system works for you. If that works for you, then buy the bins that you like it. Put the levels if you want to, because you want it pretty. But for me, organizing is about function. It's not about looks. Yes, the looks helps because you don't see it overwhelmed, because you don't gives you peace, give you what a beautiful sensation come from work to your house and feel like, oh, everything is tidy, right? But if everything has a function, it's better.
Yeah.
That is organizing.
And listen, I'm the exact same way of, I don't ever tell them to buy anything, ever. I always tell them, from the consultation, unless they're one of those people that specifically are like, no, tell me what to buy. But I always tell them, like I just had a lady today, I don't know what to tell you to buy until I'm in there and we've decluttered. We have to declutter first. Even if it's an immaculate house, we still need to figure out the system and the function and what's going back in that space. Then we can decide if it needs baskets or bins. But first, let's see what you have. Let's see how it's going to work. Let's get it more systematized and, to where you can use it and it feels better. And then, like you said, then if you want me to help you, figure out the bins and baskets, I gladly will. And so, last but not least, I have one more question that I want to ask everybody. What's one tool that you always carry in your toolbox, no matter what project you're working on?
I have two.
Okay.
One is my phone, because I have to take before and after photos. I always ask my client, can you let me do that so I can post it in my Facebook page? Because that is my portfolio. That's how I can ask other people to go and check. And that is my job. That's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And my other, I always have in my car a toolbox with a hammer and a screwdriver, just because if I need to, I want to keep that picture, I can hang it for you. Do you want me to? Let's do it right away. So it's not on the way. So it's a little tiny extra value that I give to my client.
That's awesome. And, it's those little things that will impress the client and make them want to call you again and again and tell their friends and family. And so, as you get going as a professional organizer, just think of those little values that you can add to your clients or that you can have available just in case they maybe need that help.
Correct.
Yes. Well, thank you, Claudia. I appreciate it. Again, it's Claudia Armstrong, professional organizer in Ontario, Canada. And I will put all of her information in the show notes below. And then again, hit that subscribe and automatic download button so you don't miss an upcoming episode. You have been listening to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. Go to the show notes to find all of the links mentioned in this episode and hit that subscribe and automatic download button so you don't miss a single thing. Thanks for listening.